Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Well, today we're looking at a new cigar from Diesel. This is the Diesel Grind. Now, Diesel is a line normally you see on Cigar International and distributed by them, also distributed by Mayer and Dutch. But both these companies are owned by General Cigar's parent company, Scandinavian Tobacco Group. So the transition to General Cigar was fairly easy. As a result, Diesel Grind will only be available at brick and mortar shops. Now, this is the Toro 6x50. It's also available in two other sizes, Robusto and Torpedo. Made by AJ Fernandez. Features a Nicaraguan binder and filler and is wrapped in a Habano leaf. Available in 20-count wooden boxes. Very economically priced at $5.99 to $6.99. So this is a definite budget cigar made by AJ Fernandez. So it's well worth our look today. So why don't we get right to it? Now, the grind is very plain as far as bands. We have one band at the foot. There it is. It says Diesel. Okay. All right. So it should be fairly simple to remove. Usually you can either twist them off or let's see where it begins. Let's see if we can peel this off here right at the foot. There we go. There's your band. We will, of course, see that later. And there's a cigar. Very well made, as you can see. It is an AJ Fernandez cigar. And not overly oily, but has a little shine to it. Good draw. Just a wee touch of firmness. Well, the first flavors I'm getting very quickly, as you can see, is a very sweet, tangy, a sharp tanginess to that orange citrus with nice caramel notes. Black pepper is fairly high, between 7.5 and an 8 here at Light Up. There is a lower level base flavor of sort of a black coffee, but it's not overly blown at this point. You really get a lot of that sharp, tangy, sweet orange citrus and the caramel, which gives it a nice, it tries to smooth out that sharp edge of the tangy citrus, and it helps do that. So that's your initial flavors. Let's see where we go from here. Well, I'm a good 2 inches in, maybe a little over. And the citrus notes are sort of morphing to like a sweet cedar. They're in the in-between stage, so there could be either way. It could go either way. The caramel now is more of a dry cocoa flavor. There's brown sugar, maybe just a touch of butteriness. But the cigar went from a very sharp sweet to a very darker sweet. It's still very sweet, but it's a darker noted cigar now. The coffee is much more elevated also. Pepper is still very good. Cigar is really medium, sort of leaning toward medium to full. The finish has some aspects of that dry cocoa and a little lingering black pepper. It's actually a little coffee on the finish also. So that's sort of where you are as the cigar progresses and tones down, settles down, if you will, after the initial light up. It gets a little darker. Still stays pretty sweet though. I've got about 2 inches remaining, maybe just over. But I don't really have the cocoa notes anymore. I've got sort of reverted back to that citrus. And it is a tangy orange citrus, but it's so tangy there's like the flavor of an orange peel in there also, which gives it a wee bit of bitterness, just a wee bit. Still have the caramel notes, some brown sugar effect, or it could just be the caramel. Pepper remains very good, coffee at the base. So it's sort of reverted a little bit back toward the beginning stages. I would call it medium to full. And the finish now has more caramel aspects to it. It's much sweeter and a average amount of lingering black pepper. So I mean, I came back to tell you that because it was a pretty big change from the last segment to now. Won't be long before we'll be wrapping it up, so hang in there. Well, we're definitely down to the end, folks, so let's wrap it up. It sort of stayed on that same trajectory as the last segment. It started losing sweet. The last segment didn't have as much sweetness. It lost a lot more. It still had some citrus notes, had a lot more of the orange peel flavor, which means it had a little bit of bitterness, and it seemed to increase. So the caramel notes didn't even help it bring back the sweetness like it should have. Now the pepper remained very good. Finish is pretty much unchanged, medium to full bodied. But the cigar started out like gangbusters. It was fantastic. And in the middle, when it changed, you got the cocoa notes involved. It started changing. Then it started getting the orange peel into it later stages. It just lost a lot. Definitely a good, worth trying AJ Fernandez cigar. Not my favorite. I could say that, I think. But it was decent and is an excellent price point, and you may find it right up your alley. So you got to try it at that price point. For me, it's an 89. It just didn't have what I wanted, and it was a decent cigar, but it just wasn't my favorite AJ Fernandez cigar because of the how it transitioned. So there you have it, the new diesel grind Toro by AJ Fernandez for General Cigar, 89.